Okay guys, today we're going to talk about subtracting mixed numbers with regrouping. So, in our last lesson we talked about regrouping mixed numbers. So if we had a fraction like this, that was 2 and 2/5, what we can do, and the reason that this is so important is that this is how we're going to end up regrouping with our mixed numbers, with our subtraction problems. So we're going to take this 2 and 2/5 and we're actually going to regroup this whole number. So I can take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fifths and I can trade it in for that whole. So now instead of 2 and 2/5, I have 1 whole and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So with that, what we're going to do is, just like we talked about before, where basically you can kind of split out this whole number into 1 and 5/5. So the way that that regrouping is happening is going to be really important for what we're talking about today. So that when we regroup this, we're going to have 1 whole and 7/5, because 5/5 plus this 2/5 is going to equal 1 and 7/5. Okay. So now on to the computation for today. So the first thing we're going to do is do this problem. So let's try 8 and 1/3 minus 2 and 8/9. Okay. So we're going to follow our same steps that we have before when we're working with mixed numbers, when we're adding or subtracting. So we're just going to transfer our whole number so that we can get our equivalent fractions made. So now we need to find our LCD. So we're going to have 9. 3 times 3 would be 9. 1 times 3 is 3. 9 times 1 would be 9. 8 times 1 would be 8. So now we're ready to subtract, except that I have 8/9 down here that I need to take from my 3/9 up here. So I don't have enough. So that's where this regrouping happens. So if, for example, I had, just like my number before, 123 minus 19, this is the problem we did the other day. If I was going to be subtracting these two numbers, I would have to regroup. So I have to take 1 from this 2 and regroup it over here, because this is a 10 and I'm putting the 10 here. So this is 13 now instead of just 3. So the same thing's going to happen with our skills with regrouping. So now this is, we're going to, and you don't have to write this part. I'm just writing it out so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to split the 8 into a 7 and 9/9. Now the reason I'm using 9/9 is because my denominator here is 9. So I want to let that guide me. So my new whole number is 7. And then 9/9 plus 3/9 would be 12/9, right? Then down here at the bottom, this number is actually going to stay the same. We're not doing anything to it. Just like with our whole number, we didn't need to do anything to the bottom part. So now this is really our new problem. Now you don't have to box this in if you don't want. I just do this so that you can see that this is our specific problem that we're solving now. We're subtracting these two fractions. So 7 minus 2 is 5. 12 minus 8 is 4. And then my common denominator stays the same, so it's 9. And there's no need to reduce that. So my answer here is 5 and 4/9. Okay, let's try another one. Let's do 5 and 10/28 minus 1 and 3/7. Okay, so once again, I'm going to transfer my mixed numbers over here, and then I need my common denominator. So my common denominator here is 28. So 28 times 1 would be 28. So 10 times 1 is 10. 7 times 4 is 28. 3 times 4 is 12. So we are running into the same problem we did before. I can't take 12 from 10. So I'm going to need to regroup this mixed number. So once again, and you don't have to write this little fork thing I do at the bottom, but this is the way that I'm trying to show you what I'm doing in my head. And if this helps you, go for it. Do it. Make sure that, if you don't have enough room, you can always like do it up off to the top. But if this helps you think about what you're doing to get this to regroup, go for it. So 5 is now going to be a 4 as our whole number because we've regrouped from it. So 28 28/28, that's hard to say, plus 10/28 would be 38/28, right? And then this bottom mixed number is actually going to stay the same. So now we have this fraction, these fractions to subtract. So 4 minus 1 is 3. My denominator stays the same. And then we have 38 minus 12. And again, if you ever need to do side math, don't be afraid to do side math. If you need to do side math, this is perfectly fine. So our answer here is 26. Now, that's not in lowest terms, so we're going to reduce it. So 3, and they're both even, so I can divide them in half. Half of 26 is 13, half of 28 is 14, and that is our answer for that problem in lowest terms. Okay, next problem. All right, we've got 7 and 2/4 minus 2 and 7/10. Okay, same thing as before. We're transferring our mixed numbers over here to get our equivalent fractions. So in looking at 4 and 10, we could do 40. That would be a fine equivalent fraction. That's perfectly fine. However, it's not going to be your lowest one. Your lowest common denominator is actually going to be 20. So I'm going to use 20. So same thing, 4 times 5 is 20, 2 times 5 is 10, 10 times 2 is 20, 7 times 2 is 14. Now we're stuck with this same problem. We can't subtract 14 from 10, so we're going to have to regroup here. So I've got 6, and we're going to let this denominator guide us, so it's 20 over 20. So our new whole number is 6, and we're going to add 20/20 plus 10/20, which is going to get you 30/20. And down here, this remains 2, and then 14/20. Okay, so now we just have to subtract, and remember, this is your number that you're working with. So 6 minus 2 is 4. 30 minus 14 would be 16 over 20. We can reduce that. 4 is our whole number. Now I could reduce this in half and divide by 2. 16 divided by 2 would be 8. 20 divided by 2 would be 10. However, I also know that 4 goes into that. So I'm going to make it 5 4/5. And that is going to be the lowest terms answer for that one. All right, let's try another one. All right, let's do 9 3/14 minus 4 3/7. Okay, so transfer our whole numbers. Our common denominator is going to be 14. 14 times 1 is 14. 3 times 1 is 3. 7 times 2 is 14. 3 times 2 is 6. Now, again, we can't take 6 from 3, so we need to regroup. So the 9 is going to be 8 14/14. So 8 is my whole number. 14 plus 3 is 17, and then we get 14. So same thing down here. We're going to keep this the same as we have because we're not regrouping that number at all. Okay, 8 minus 4 is 4. 17 minus 6 is 11. And our denominator is 14. Okay, let's do one last one. All right, let's try 5. No, changing my mind. We're going to do 8 1/27 and 3 4/9. Okay, once again, we need our whole numbers. Common denominator, 27. 27. 27 times 1 is 27, so 1 times 1 is 1. 9 times 3 is 27. 4 times 3 is 12. So once again, we cannot subtract 12 from 1, so we have to regroup. 7 and 27/27. So we get 7 And 27 plus 1 is 28 27ths. And this bottom remains the same. So 3 and 12 27ths. And then we can subtract. So 7 minus 3 is 4. Then we get 27, 28 minus 12. Again, if you're not sure, do the side math. I'd rather you take a second to do the side math than get it inaccurate up there. So 4 and 16 27ths. Now, I know that doesn't look like a real pretty fraction, but it is actually in lowest terms. The only thing that goes into 16 would be 1, 2, that doesn't go into 27, 4 doesn't go into 27, 8 doesn't go into 27, and then we're back up to 16. So this is in lowest terms. Okay, guys, that's the end of the video. Go check out some board notes, work on your worksheet and your fast check. Feel free to stop into office hours. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer anything you need or do some more sample problems with you. Until next time, thanks, guys. Bye.